Hi everyone, I'm Dave Giancola, joined as always by Mike Trossel for another U.S. Open Classic finish. The U.S. Open returned to iconic Shinnecock Hills on the eastern end of Long Island in 2018. It had been almost 30 years since a player had successfully defended his U.S. Open title, but that's exactly what Brooks Koepka aimed to do at Shinnecock.
Dave, Dustin Johnson led by 4 strokes at the halfway point, but tough conditions late on Saturday allowed both Tony Finau and Daniel Berger to surge up the leaderboard to tie Johnson and Koepka. Now, Koepka pulled ahead with 3 early birdies on Sunday, but would need to hold up Johnson, as well as late charges from Patrick Reed and Tommy Fleetwood to win his 2nd consecutive U.S. Open.
Let's catch up with Brooks on the 10th.
From 165, a little bit of hurt out of the right. This has got to be a big 8-iron.
In the hole! In the hole! In the hole!
Beauty, Brooks!
Brooks!
There you go, Brooks!
Well, he continues to hit good shot after good shot.
Well, that's better than good, Curtis. If you miss this green today, you're going to be 30 to 40 yards from the hole. Doesn't matter where you miss it, it just runs away. Now, Dustin Johnson.
61 yards closer to the hole, 104.
That was average at best. Not a very good shot at all for the best player on the planet.
Come on, DJ.
Back at 9, Tony Finau for birdie.
The only player we've seen today fit that ball between the flagstick and the front edge, and Tony Finau still hanging in there like a bulldog.
His 3rd birdie on the first 9. Look at the performance over the last 9 holes here this week. Koepka has played them at 6 over, DJ even, Patrick Reed 4 over, and Tony Finau, and he is headed there after that birdie 3 under.
You might not think that means much, but it actually means a lot. How a player feels.
Reed tee shot on the way here at 12. Aggressive play with driver.
That's going to be in the thickest stuff, bud.
We heard that comment. That's going to be in the thickest stuff. That thing settled right down to the bottom.
Now Finau at 10.
He's got the power to skate this iron right down to the bottom. Dustin Johnson did just a few minutes ago. There it goes. Tony Finau, he apologizes to the sweet spot before he draws it back. That was blasted.
Moment to go at 18, second shot, Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Go.
What a shot. He's had a rough back 9, but as good as you can hit it here at 18. Back to the green at 10 and Dustin Johnson.
Well, flag high again, which is the good thing. The bad thing is he's at the hole when it loses speed. It's going to move pretty hard from left to right. Paul, what's that technique that Austin's using? Aim point?
Yeah, that my eyes glaze over, so I'm not going to try to explain it. It's actually, I think it simplifies things for the players. Faxon knows it way better than anybody on this broadcast team, but you know, not a very good wedge shot, sand wedge shot for Dustin Johnson down there, Curtis.
No, but I think from his angle and a completely blind shot, I think if you make a mistake here, especially in the last 9 holes, it has to be toward the middle of the green. Any mistake now is so magnified to the outcome of this championship.
I don't know where that is, but they had it just inside this whole cup here. See, this whole cup was just inside of that.
He and his brother have talked more on the greens the last day and a half or so, Joe, than maybe all year. But I think a big part of the reason is that Dustin Johnson's lost sight of the line. You know, when that happens, you have a blank spot in front of you instead of something specific. He's going to grind it out to try to see if he can see that line again, to find that line again.
Yeah, just ask the guy. I can't tell. Right. It's up to you.
Looks like they're looking at something in Brooks Koepka's line. This for birdie. He's leading by 1. By 2.
That's a strong effort right there. He missed 3 putts inside 10 feet for birdie already today, Joe, and that can get in your head a little bit.
Here's Patrick Reed at 12.
Oh, that aggressive play off the tee with driver. He may not have needed it there, and the only solace he can have is his hole location's way left.
We're going to stay here all day.
Hey, Brooks.
Walk these two over to the par 3 11. Leader Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson 2 shots back.
Koepka knows where he stands. He's 2 ahead of his buddy. He knows Fleetwood's in the clubhouse.
Up ahead, Stinson has this short one for a par. Justin Rose.
He's really had no opportunities today. Made a bogey from behind the green on 10 after missing the fairway. Just neither one of these buddies can kind of ride some momentum off the other one at all. Been a struggle for them both.
Good putt, good par. See that card, those 2 bogeys, 2 5s there on 6 and 10.
Not a bird. Yeah. Now Koepka.
Stick to that, okay? Good.
Just a gentle breeze helping this one. 159, this will pitch a wedge. And I didn't think they'd put this flagstick here, but it is on a back, tiny little shelf as far back as they can get it.
Who knows? Oh no!
Oh no.
Back there where Patrick Reed just hit it, and worse, right into the thick garbage. I think it's impossible to get it on the green from there.
Brad, it's hard not to be aggressive when you have a pitcher wedge in your hand, but you and I have seen what happens here. Middle of the green, short is ideal.
Oh, I know, but pitching wedge from 159 uphill, you think that would be perfect. Al Johnson.
Good face! Get a hold, DJ. There you go, DJ. Go.
Shot, DJ.
Smart play there.
Right in the middle of the green. He's birdied this hole for 3 days in a row. Likely from that distance, but good, safe, and smart play for DJ.
Now up ahead, it'll be Patrick Reed's third.
Well, look at this. Chunked it out of there. I just think he made a little tactical error off the tee. Should have been a 3-wood. This whole playing downhill, downwind. We've seen so many players just play irons off the tee.
Second shot, Tony Finau at 10.
Watch out. Watch out. Oh, man. You better run. Put a spot on that ball. That'll go 50 yards backwards if it goes another 2 inches.
Now Fitzpatrick for birdie at 18. That'll make him feel better walking away. He was 4 under through 10. It was 5 over the previous 7 holes until that.
Now at the 12th, that's Reed's 4th shot. We'll have that left for bogey. Koepka in trouble at 11. Reed in trouble here at 12, and Tommy Fleetwood is enjoying the couch at the clubhouse.
Not often you have 3 shots out of the rough like that and only going to salvage bogey. He could have gotten a lot of trouble with that second shot.
Even if you're not able to make it out to Shinnecock Hills Golf Club this week, you can still find a way to get in on the experience. Check out all the official U.S. Open gear now at usgashop.com. Back at 11, and Brooks Koepka surveying that lie here for his second.
Gentlemen, this is the toughest shot I have seen all week long from around the green. In the high grass, not a particularly tough lie, but he's 40 yards off the surface, and the slope up to the green is very steep, and the flag is only about 3 steps on.
Curtis, is there a safe place here? What can he do?
I'm sorry, is there a safe place?
Yeah, safe play.
Safe play, safe place. I think go home. I just, honest to goodness, this is, I think you got to play it along the ground to make sure, number one, you hit the ball solidly coming out of this rough, because any mishit's not going to get up on the green. Hit it solidly, get it running along the ground, and hope you judge it correctly.
Curtis, there's only been one player over here that's got up and down. It was Justin Thomas, but he wasn't back in this stuff.
I mean, it's probably going to end up in the bunker anyhow. I was going to say, yeah, I was going to settle for the bunker. Look down, just make sure it gets there. I mean, even yeah. Okay. Making that mistake. Yeah.
Yep. Looks like he's going low and real low. Going to make sure it has speed.
Green is right against him.
You heard him mention it, Brad. He said just play it to the bunker, and that's a good indication of what a break Patrick Reed got by rattling the flagstick.
Well, that must be the safe play or safe place, Curtis. You know, Patrick Reed was back there in the group in front of him, and he got lucky and slammed it into the flagstick, or would have had the same thing happen.
Now back to Finau for birdie at 10. Looking for 3 in a row, and coming up well short.
Well, that's way short. We saw 2 really poor shots in a row from way down at the bottom of that hill from 2 superstar players.
Now Reed for bogey.
Yeah, let's
go. Well, he got away with one there. That could have been way worse. And Patrick Reed all of a sudden showing he's human. 4 or 5 on 11 and 12.
Back over at 11 in Brooks Koepka.
Well, he could barely see the flag at the top of the flagstick. This is how deep that bunker is, but has plenty of green in which to work.
Mighty good shot. Such an uphill lie. A lot of sand in that bunker. Hard to get it all the way there. Now that putt for Koepka for a bogey. Look how soft that sand is. I love watching the sand and the ball come up at the same time. Club face wide open, facing right back at him.
Brad, I'm surprised there's any sand left in that bunker, as many balls as we've seen in it this week.
That's for sure.
There's Daniel Berger at 10 for birdie. Oh, yeah. Daniel says, don't forget about me.
Finau just 2 over par in their rounds today, which is not bad. Koepka in danger of making double, and suddenly these two guys could be within 2 shots of the lead.
Back at 11, and Dustin Johnson to try to birdie this hole for the 4th straight day.
Uphill the entire way. It doesn't look real tough, but it goes up a little bit of a slope the last 3 or 4 feet, so he has to judge that speed. Flattens out at the hole.
Really, if he makes it, it puts him in the lead. Koepka about to make bogey at the best. Could have called that one before he hit it. See, he kind of waved at it going through like he knew it right away.
Our putt for Tony Finau at 10.
Well, as we mentioned, Joe, 10 through 14 are the nightmarish holes in the middle of this golf course. That's a good save there. He's got 4 really tough ones to go. And I think if you break the course into 3-hole segments, maybe, you know, can I play these holes even par, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15? And then what do you know, 16, 17, 18, 1 under, 2 under, and all of a sudden you're right there. So, Koepka, this is critical here.
What a putt by Brooks Koepka.
It's like a man on a mission, Fax.
What a 4 there. This guy's got all parts working, the tenacity to do it, the experience of last year, playing alongside his best friend.
It was a day ago on 14 when he made that bomb to save par. Today it's a bomb for bogey, and now Dustin Johnson to try to save par and remain a shot outside the lead.
Really nothing to this one. Spoke too soon.
Fucking kidding me.
I'm sure that putt by Koepka affected Johnson there. There's no doubt.
There you go, big guy. It just hobbled really badly.
Huge mistake there for Dustin Johnson as we go up ahead to Justin Rose.
Sticks it in there. Rose undoubtedly knows he needs to play these last 7 holes 4 under par.
Patrick Reed, tee at 13.
Sit. Sit.
I can see it from here.
Yeah.
Can't be too bad. No, if I can see it from here, it can't be that bad.
Back at 11, Berger.
Playing 159, is he going to be aggressive or play for the wide bit of the green, which is about 8 yards on?
Sit.
best shots we've seen this afternoon. Courage to take it on line there and get it all the way back.
Here's Brooks Koepka on the tee at 12.
See that driving iron, how closed that face is. Both these players play with kind of a bowed left wrist, closed face. Will he get the kick? Oh, that's back there too, way short of where Reed's was. Doesn't look quite as thick though.
Back at 11, Finau.
You can get a lot of grip on them because it hits it high, hard. Where the flag has got 5 yards left, 5 yards right, not much room.
Yep. So really good shots here. I'll tell you what, the attention's off these guys a little bit. They're starting to play a little bit better. They're relaxing.
Now Dustin Johnson.
For the 4th straight day, a Long Island here. Playing straight downwind.
Let's go, DJ! You got this! Let's go, DJ!
Yep, gets that ball at the last minute to kick and dive back to the middle of the fairway. Still talking to himself about that 3-putt bogey on 11.
You saw that great approach from Rose. This for a birdie to get within 4.
My guess is he's looking at 2 as his target now. Needs 3 birdies. He really messed himself up on the front 9 with 6-6 on the 4th and the 5th hole.
Back here at the 12th, and Brooks Koepka surveying his second.
Straight at it. That pump, plenty of room left, haven't you? Stick to that, right?
Not a very good lie, but with his strength. Took a big bounce off a downslope.
Really unlucky there, Curtis. You're right. It hit right on a downslope earth. It would have been perfect. I didn't think there's any way he thought he could get it over this green.
Back at 11, Finau has this long look for birdie.
He make it? Yes, he did. That turned left at the end like Dustin Johnson's putt. Should look like it goes to the right for those players. That new shelf. A long time since we've seen a 2 here.
3 birdies in his last 4 holes for Tony Finau. Back up at 12, Dustin Johnson.
From 178 straight down this gentle breeze, again blowing 8 to 10. This is to take that on here.
Over it.
Now Berger for birdie at 11.
That definitely jumped when he hit it. Yep. That's what he said. You saw it kick to the right immediately. Maybe the POA being a little bit uneven later in the day.
Patrick Reed for birdie at 13.
Get in there.
Well, it's 2 over on the back 9. 1 more hole to go, and he's through that 5-hole stretch of the most difficult holes on the course.
On the tee here, Tony Finau. Turned professional as a 17-year-old. Tells stories of playing Skins game, being down $800 with only 20 bucks in his pocket and cashing a hole-in-one to win it all back. He knows pressure, and he's feeling it right now.
I really like this guy's game. He's so tall, but he stands so close to the ball. It helps his swing get upright. He smashes it second in driving distance on the PGA Tour.
That's the look of the...
Come right back there. Here's Xander Schauffele for birdie at 18.
Berger's tee shot on the way here at 12. And both will be in the short stuff. Go up to the green, Brooks Koepka.
Well, he's got two things working for him. It's straight downhill the hole, but he's got a good lie. Has to be hit it cleanly and back into the wind. This is very doable.
Get in the hole!
Oh, what a nice play by Koepka.
It's better than that. It's a great play, Brad.
Oh, that looks like awful grass there, Curtis. Big swing. Confidence to get underneath it. Green, look at that green, just gnarly, pointing right at him. Ball doesn't even touch the club face there.
A second shot for Justin Rose at 13.
Just an 8-iron back into the breeze.
Come on, help us push it right, Win.
That's a good shot. Steve Flash right there.
Coming off a birdie at 12. Trying to make a late run, and back to 12 we go.
Dustin, after a really good shot here, just a little bit beyond, now coming back down the slope, just ever so slightly.
Curtis, these two guys talk to each other at all?
I haven't seen one word, and that's okay. But there might be a little bit on the tee, but I really don't think so. And it's nothing other than say they're really into their own games right now, and should be.
Certainly don't think after that 3-putt on 11 you're going to talk to anybody. Curtis, you're right. He's deliberate on the greens right now, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is, and that shows me that he may be struggling just a little bit, you know, with his feel, and we've seen that a little bit, but just wants to be exactly confident when he gets over it right now. Wants to trust his line.
Good run there by Dustin Johnson. Expecting that to go a little bit to the right.
Just cannot buy a putt right now, Dustin Johnson. And now Brooks Koepka.
Brad, let me ask you, when you seem like you're struggling just a bit on the greens, as DJ seems to be, it's almost better to speed up, would you think, or slow down? Slow down, you sometimes bog yourself down with some mechanics.
I agree with you so much, Curtis, but I think when you're struggling, the tendency is always to slow down, and it gets you worse. It's harder to free yourself up. You got to talk to yourself about it. It's more a mental thing. Koepka Defying logic here with some of these up and downs he's making. Nobody's gotten up and down from over this green today.
Well, if he goes on and wins this championship, he will look back on the 11 save for bogey and here save for par.
Two-putt par for Dustin.
Heard a little roar in the background there. Here's Henrik Stenson for birdie at 13. Now a live look at Justin Rose trying to make it back-to-back birdies.
Joey got a great read from Henrik there on the exact same line. This half the distance that Henrik was. Going to be downhill, about 2 balls off the left edge. Got to be careful, pretty quick little putt. Justin's a good lesson in just being patient out here. It is US Open, don't force it. Just play your own game.
He just really, he didn't feel it on the greens yesterday. When he started to hit it a little better, he made a ton of saves early. And nothing going in for Rose now.
Second shot here for Patrick Reed at 14.
Yeah, and he drove it in the bunker and had to call an official over about a loosened stone there. Most Americans aren't used to moving rocks in the bunkers. He's got a shot he can do here, 187 up. Just 7 on him.
He's bogeyed this 14th all 3 days. He sits there in 2.
Go back to 12, Daniel Berger second.
.166 yards. There's the fade. Berger's been trying to hit. Just gets the other side of the ridge there. Needed a flat about a foot farther. Hit into that little upslope.
Not pretty good. I think so. I mean, it looks like it's.
Now Brooks Koepka on the tee at 13.
Just exploiting that driving iron. Joe, that's a terrific shot right there.
He's gone par, bogey, par through the first 3 rounds, in good position here on Sunday. Now DJ, who's parred this hole, as you look at this swing by Brooks yet again.
Look how far in front of the tee that divot is. And these guys are trajectory mongers, Joe. They like to squish that ball on a certain trajectory. They see it coming out maybe different windows. Put the ball in the fairway at 13. It's a pretty good look. This hole's right in the middle of the green.
And 2 good drives there.
Back over at the 12th, Tony Finau.
Hit it to a foot here yesterday. And a lot more wind. Now he has to show Berger the line. I think it came out a little bit lower than he wanted.
Here at 18, it's Webb Simpson for birdie. Players champion with a head shake and a tap in for 4 here at the last. 7 over, around him 1 under today.
Back over at 12, it'll be Tony Finau first for birdie.
And his playing partner will keep a beady eye on what happens with this putt. They're virtually next to each other. uphill a little bit. Quite a big swing from right to left. Greens are drying out a little bit, but nowhere near as badly as yesterday. Yesterday, these days they were really starting to get a bit shiny. Added some extra moisture, so they're still putting reasonably well and ball gripping surprisingly well, actually. It's one of these putts that's going to turn, I would think, 2 feet, 2 and a bit feet. You've just got to look for your high point. You've got to go over the top of the crest and then let it turn to the left. It's not one you'd be frightened of the pace of, really.
Yep, good putt by Finau.
Dustin at 13.
From 133 back up the hill just a bit into a little breeze.
Sure you hope for better than that. It's not done yet. That might go all the way off the green. It's gathering speed. It's one of the few shots he hasn't been able to get in there pin high. He's going to pay the price for it.
Koepka went on and hit as the ball continues to move.
He's hit it pin high all day today, and there's another beautiful shot. Got to believe Tommy Fleetwood's sitting pretty right now. As tough as these holes are. And it's hard on a guy like Koepka or Dustin Johnson when somebody's posted. It's like trying to win an over-under bet.
Back at 12, Berger for birdie.
Well, you had the teach from Finau. He didn't learn anything. That thing dove across. Both players now short putts for par.
This for par for Patrick Reed at 14.
He's only missed 2 greens in regulation. He hadn't gotten either one up and down. He got that up and in. 1 on 11 was impossible.
What a start. 5 birdies through 7 holes. And he's still hanging in there.
Now Finau for par at 12.
Oh boy, I was just about to say it looked like Finau is getting his swagger back. Huge, huge bogey right now.
See where the ball ended up for Dustin Johnson here at the 13th.
Well, I'm not telling anything the viewers don't know about this is uphill the whole way after seeing his second shot. But it is uphill the whole way, flattens the last 6 or 7 feet. He's out of position. I don't think he's can give away any more strokes because he's playing companion. Koepka is really striking it well.
Oh, this could be a 2-shot swing here too, Curtis, because Koepka's sitting in a catbird seat right now. field in touch has just completely left him. That's the best he's done in a long time on any of those lag putts. Only a couple short shots left for Dustin Johnson. One would be on 15, the other would be on 16. I guess 14 downwind with their power, maybe, but 14's 512 yards long.
Here's our leader for birdie.
And you have to figure he's feeling pretty confident right now with the good bogey save at 11 and the good par save at 12. This from about 10 feet and just on the right edge.
He's made some beautiful putts of about this length today. This would go a long way if he could get this one.
Just getting ready to say, this is huge right here.
Way out to the right and way too hard. Goodness. Last year in this championship, the last 5 or 6 holes or so is when Brooks Koepka separated himself from the field. It was a real dogfight, and then he started making those putts of about that length and longer. Now he's got his work cut out to just a 2-putt. So maybe it's Tommy Fleetwood in the catbird seat.
Dustin now to save par. He's missed some short ones here this afternoon. Right in the center of the hole there. Still 3 over. Brooks Koepka was 6 shots back off the lead after an opening round 75. 5 back after he shot 66 on Friday. Tied for the lead after the 3rd round. He put together a 72. Right now his lead is 1. Trying to keep it that way. And trying to successfully defend his title. A winner a year ago at Erin Hills when he ran away with it on the back 9. Let's give you the 3rd shot out of the bunker from Koepka at 11.
Well, here's why he's still in the lead, Joe, because he's been able to get these up and in, and that really was a tough putt. It went way more left than anybody thought.
This for
pretty
bogey.
straight, yep, and it just pretty straight, but man, we've seen that putt snap to the left and cost a couple of players. The tee shot to the right on 12 in that deep rough was really, you felt like was going to be his undoing, and then he hit some wicked flyer out of there to the back of the green. This looks short when it left his club face and trickles on by and went it up and down, and that's why Koepka's still hanging in there with a 1-shot lead. What a putt this was. Really had a sense that he was going to make that 10-footer there on 13 to increase his lead to 2, but wasn't meant to be. Good 2-putt, though.
It was. Joe Buck and Paul Azinger with you as we are watching the drama here down the stretch at the 118th U.S. Open. Just to go back with Koepka on 11. He had driven it over the green, impossible position, into the bunker. The shot out, makes the putt, so he saves a bogey there. Saves a par, just missed a chance for birdie at 13. Who would you rather be? Would you rather be the guy still out on the golf course and Brooks Koepka, who's leading by 1, or the guy who shot 63 today, who was already posted 2 over for the championship, in Tommy Fleetwood.
Well, one guy's in control, and the other guy's posting. He's done. So I think I always would like to have control if I could, but you know, it's tough. I mean, every step you take, your mind is thinking and wandering and trying to get out in front, and you want to pull yourself back. You know, we started the day talking about big dreams, but that these guys have to dream small. And for Koepka right now, he's got to stay in the moment. He's got to visualize this tee shot and just play this hole and not get ahead of himself thinking what could be.
Well, this has been the hardest hole this week. Curtis, who would you rather be, the guy on the course or the guy in the clubhouse?
Well, the guy in the clubhouse has no control whatsoever. This guy, it's his week. If he can get it in the fairway a couple more times today. Now remember, he did this last year. He knows what it's like coming down the stretch. So important.
And into the heavy fescue down the right side. You want to stick with your answer?
Well, I have to. I'd be a hypocrite, correct?
Let's give you the Lexus Tracer from Dustin Johnson. Koepka in the rough, Johnson in the fairway.
Still pretty disciplined, this Dustin Johnson. Not going to change the way he thinks. No pressure on him now. All the pressure on Brooks Koepka.
Out of 15, Patrick Reed, second shot.
Good conservative play. Putt for Reed to get to 3 over. He's got to make this one. Figure here in 16 of the 2 holes, you got a birdie.
Here's Daniel Berger, second shot at 13.
This hole's just waiting for you right in the middle of the green. And another good shot.
He's hanging in. He birdied 10. Has gone par, and a good look at birdie at 13 for Daniel Berger. Right now, everyone is chasing Brooks Koepka, who has a 1-shot lead as he plays the difficult 14th here at Shinnecock. Here is DJ at 14.
199 up the hill, Flagstick right on the front.
And that stays.
Well, somehow he's managed to par this hole all 3 rounds, but this may be his toughest chance yet from way back there.
Here's Koepka.
Well, we took about 3 minutes to even find this ball. This is not a very good lie.
For a guy with a left wrist injury, Curtis, he's just slinging away with reckless abandon.
Well, it is the U.S. Open, his national championship.
Yeah, just telling me
everybody on the planet will do the same thing.
He's fully recovered, I feel, and he's going to have his work cut out for him there to skip that in close. Likely have to one-hop that just short of the green if he wants to save par here.
Back to 13, and Daniel Berger for birdie.
Wow, that's a paint job. In all the way.
That was to get him back to par for the day. 3 over and 2 back.
Now at 15, Patrick Reed for birdie to get within 2.
Masters champion. Oh, he's got it. Catches the left edge, and Patrick Reed gets within 2 of Koepka, who's in trouble at 14.
The reaction from Patrick Reed, trying to be the 7th player ever to win the Masters in the U.S. Open in the same year. 6th birdie of the day. They'll go to the par 5.
Third shot coming up for Koepka.
Only 67 yards up the slope a little bit. Flagstick says it's 5 on. It doesn't look 5. Just really a delicate little shot. Has a couple of choices. Could try to fly it on the green or bounce it in.
A little bit.
I got a 50 shot. I got a 50 shot. 50 shot, yeah.
A little bit of downwind, Curtis. This green's actually repelling the ball, not really receiving it. Let's see what he decides here.
Cliff Bendigo!
Coming in low.
Yeah, I like that decision. A beautiful one hopper off the collar there. Super shot.
Back to 13 and Finau for par.
He's got to have it.
And he does. Just 1 over today. At the moment, 3 back.
Here at the 16th, Brian Gay has this short putt for a birdie.
Kay's playing with Jim Furyk. These guys are struggling today. Kay, one of the best putters on the tour. Straight hitter. Game made for U.S. Opens, but I don't know if it's made for U.S. Opens at 7,500 yards. Good to watch this for the players coming up. What does this ball do around this hole? Straight in for Gay. Birdie gets him to 10 over.
Back on the tee is Patrick Reed.
See what his numbers do. He's just so adept at being able to move the ball in 2 different directions at will. He's a good pitcher. He's got all the command. That club face and another one right in the middle of the fairway.
Here at 14, a long one for Dustin Johnson.
A very long one. Up the hill the first half, levels out, and then at the hole, straight downhill.
Well, Curtis, 72, almost 73 feet. He showed good touch there on 13, being able to 2-putt. Boy, look how straight this putt is.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to it, but I think it has to move from his right to left. I think more concern and priority is the speed right here.
Been kind of the story of his weekend. He's not had great feel. Of course, it's a tall order to roll it up Gimme from that far away. And the big putt coming up for Brooks Koepka. Clinging to a 1-shot lead. Koepka's played this back nine 6 over par for the championship.
Zing, I can't help but think, with 4 holes to go, huge, huge difference in having a 1-shot lead and being tied for the lead. It's not easy downhill from left to right.
Another clutch putt for Koepka. He just keeps doing it.
Up and down again, this time from 67 yards away. Saved a par yesterday here at 14. How about that?
That's a big putt, man. Curtis summed it up nicely. It's just clutch cargo.
I got to go on just a little right.
15th hole is one of the shorter holes on the course. 16 is going to be a wedge.
Yeah, I mean, I got it just outside left.
It's an absolute must for Dustin Johnson, Curtis.
Monster putt. And he knows it.
That's twice after Koepka made the putt on 11 and 14 that Dustin Johnson followed up with a miss. I don't know if that has any bearing on it or not, but significance of that putt right there for Dustin Johnson is pretty easy to see.
Fifth three putt over the last 2 days for Dustin Johnson, who was lights out with a putter Thursday and Friday.
Up ahead to 16, and Reed, second on the way.
Oh, that's a good layup out to the right there. Aggressive to get it up there. That wind's picking up against the players.
Back at 15, Stinson for birdie.
This straight up the hill, guys. Not much to this putt. Drove it down bottom of the hill. It just hit a perfect gap wedge from 122.
His third birdie in a row. Been birdie free for a long time. 25 holes in a row without him. And his chances are starting to fall away here. 5 over par. Needs to get to 2.
Dustin Johnson and Koepka making their way to 15T. Our leader by 1.
Hear that cart? Yeah. That's the wind thing? Yeah. Good cart.
Well, even I can see from 100 yards. This is an iron, and I'm not sure it's even his driving iron. Only 240 to the crest, and then it'll run out another 30 yards.
You're right, Curtis. It's not that big driving iron he hits. Didn't take any time to hit this. Just said hit it at that cart. Let the wind take it, he said. Oh, yeah. Hits that down slow. Gets an extra 40 yards there. Way down. Adrenaline's got to be pumping after that save.
Boy, I just can't help but think, you know, the saves on this backside is what you have to do. It's not about making all the birdies. It's about saving those pars.
Well, he hit it way right here yesterday. Got to hit it in the fairway.
Let's go, DJ, baby! Okay, smart play. Good play. Not bad.
Well, that's picture perfect as well. Pummeling it. Those 2 tee shots. That's a real chance for birdie. 2 wedge shots into this hole location.
Brooks Koepka clinging to a 1-shot lead over Tommy Fleetwood, who shot a 7 under par 63 earlier today. We'll take you through how he did it. This at the second, the par 3, long look for birdie. At this point, 9 over for the championship. And he buries it. Now at the third, the very next hole. Another birdie look.
Well, one of the par fours, it's the most difficult on the course all week long. This one in 14, battled it out all week, and he made it look easy with this start.
Pars at 4 and 5, now it's 6.
A blind tee shot. One of the prettiest greens here on the flattest part of the golf course. Stuck it right there over the bunker.
Slowly climbing up this leaderboard was Tommy Fleetwood. He birdied 7, now at 13. After a birdie at 12.
Shane, this hole can wreak havoc if you're not just so precise. Controlling the spin. Let it kick in.
Number 12 player in the world was dialed. Birdies at 12, birdies at 13, now at 14.
Right, and when you're going good, you have a little bit of luck from off the green, catches the edge. He's feeling it.
You could see it right there in his reaction. Maybe I have a chance. What about at 15? Could he birdie 4 in a row?
Well, doing it all different ways. Sticking it in close from the fairway, making 30-footers. Hair on his nose is sticking up there, standing on end.
Now at 18, a chance to make history. This for 62.
Shane, we heard his caddy say inside the hole. That needed a little more oomph there, a little more borrow. But what a round, 63.
Look at the list. Tommy Fleetwood just joined. Weiskopf, Jack, Vijay Singh, Justin Thomas, and Johnny Miller. Tommy Fleetwood has been sitting for quite a while, watching the leaderboard back up towards him. There's one man ahead of him, and it's Brooks Koepka. One man behind him, and Patrick Reed, a shot back at 16.
He and his caddy trying to figure out the wind here. It's in off the right, and after Reed made birdie on 15, he had a long look at that leaderboard, so he knows he needs to make a few coming in to have a chance to win this championship.
Definitely hooked that a little bit more than he wanted. I thought we'd see a little more driving shot from Patrick Reed, and that is one of the weakest shots we've seen him hit with an iron. Well short. Really misjudged there for Patrick Reed.
Tony Finau at 14, second shot.
Oh, he only drove it 368 yards in a kind of a miss hit. You heard him groan a little, but did he get away with it? I'd say so. Kick that in with the bottom of your shoe. Just like that now.
Really aggressive, three-quarter. Just a
Reed at 3 over.
Now at 15, Koepka.
Got your target? Yep. Just right on that pole, yeah.
From only 112 with some help. Pretty simple shot here.
Bobby Mack! Get in there!
That's the first approach we've seen him hit in a while. It's out to the right. See the wind blowing that thing. He had to hook it into the wind there a little bit. But he will have a putt for birdie.
Now it'll be Dustin Johnson.
From one step closer, 111. Playing like 109. Just a little bit of breeze behind.
Stop. Bit unlucky there. That hit the flagstick. I think would have stopped a little closer there. Beautiful iron by Dustin Johnson.
Well, look at that for Dustin Johnson. Needs at least 2 birdies on his way in, and see it right off the stick. Still got a chance here at 15.
Yeah, that would have stopped and been closer. Might have come back even. Don't go in the bunker.
Third shot, Daniel Berger at 14. See that mark close to the hole. That's Tony Finau. where he will putt from to knock it in to get the 3 over.
Now at the 16th, Patrick Reed's got a long look for birdie.
And all of 45 feet straight up the hill. Really not much to it, just trying to get the speed correct. We probably have the most wind we've had all day right now.
What do you think happened on that third shot, Brett, into the green?
Well, he was hitting a pitching wedge, and it's probably right between the wedge and the 9-iron, trying to flight it down, and you're always protecting against going past this hole location, so maybe just trying to squeeze a little bit too much out of it, and it spun back and caught the ridge.
We talk about how much Bubba Watson moves the ball around. If you watch this guy's tracers, he's always fiddling around with it. Doesn't have technical thoughts. Tell you what, he needs a bomb right here. Good putt, can't expect to make it. 5 here for Reed.
Back over to 15, and Brooks Koepka, our leader by 1.
Just all about speed here. Just up a gentle little slope. Pretty level at the hole. Just a little bit from his right.
Not too bad.
Yeah, good putt there.
Take a mulligan there on his approach. From the best today. The approach shots from the fairway. Huge improvement from last week at Memphis.
While Koepka was putting, this is Daniel Berger for par at 14.
Nice save.
Well, it keeps his hopes alive, that's for sure. 2 wedges back-to-back at 15 and 16 for Daniel Berger.
Now Dustin Johnson must make at this point for birdie here at 15.
Yeah, you got to. I think that's a fair fraction too much.
Well, they don't like something. It looks pretty simple to me. Maybe just a little bit over their edge to the right, but I think at this point you might be second guessing yourself. Needs us to go.
Got it.
Oh, he did.
Had to have it and got it. Dustin Johnson now just 2 back at Koepka.
I like that he didn't putt that until he was ready. They took a while. He asked AJ, do you like where that line's pointing? He draws the line on the ball like so many players do today. Finally committed to one. Gets him the 3 over and 2 back of this man right here.
Good solid par save. Good 2-putt there for Brooks Koepka. 1 clear of Fleetwood, now 2 clear of Dustin Johnson and Patrick Reed.
While they were putting, this is Tony Finau. That's his 5th birdie to match his 5 bogeys, and he's back to where he started, 3 over, 2 back.
Leads the field with most birdies.
The pitching wedge, very similar wing. You have a pitching wedge, which basically when the fly tops at 152, and you flew it right next to the hole. So what's the fly? I think that's the fly 68. The fly top number on that is about 166.
Patrick Reed has played the final 2 holes here at Shinnecock at 2 under for the week. He birdied his 17th yesterday.
Trust him. Good swing.
Nice shot, Chubby! And that was just a 9-iron to try to hoist it way up into the air.
That's a pretty good shot. Not a great shot, but honestly, if it lands about where the shadow of that flag is on line, it ricochets off that green, even with a shortish club. But Patrick Reed with a chance for birdie here at 17. 18. He's a bit of a bear today. Probably a 6 or 7 iron second shot if he hits a good tee shot.
Now back at 15, Tony Finau.
Boy, Maloney!
Swing.
Okay.
Get it?
Nice. Maybe.
Be down the hill just like Koepka and DJ before him. Hits the downslope. Wedge shot coming up.
And up ahead at 16, Dustin Johnson after that huge birdie at 15.
Yeah, 270 covering left. Okay.
Dustin Johnson, 10th. The tour averages 310 yards.
Yep.
He's going to need all his might for 2 shots here to get there. Big 2 uphill against the wind, 621 yards.
Now Brooks Koepka.
Track man in the background. This will give us some numbers here on Koepka's ball flight. Speed 173. I got you, Dustin. I got you by 2 shots. I got you by 2 yards. 3 holes to go.
Koepka leads by 1. Fleetwood shot back and done. Dustin Johnson trying to chase down his buddy with just 3 holes left. That at Erin Hills. Here at Shinnecock. Koepka 1-shot lead.
.242 to the bunker on the right for Dustin Johnson, just laying up.
Good position there. A little bit farther up, he pushed it than Patrick Reed did.
Now Koepka.
Just put it in the fairway here.
Likes it. Oh, he likes it now.
Now the birdie putt for Patrick Reed at 17.
And he got a bit unlucky on his tee shot. If that ball goes just a yard farther, it's right next to the hole. Now 26 feet down the hill, really quick.
He couldn't conjure up the magic that he needed there to hold that. 18's a bit of a monster of a par 4. Patrick Reed has to birdie it just to tie Tommy Fleetwood, who's been in the clubhouse for nearly 2 hours.
Good how the round started for Patrick Reed, the Masters champion. What happened in the middle? A birdie at 15. He needs one at 18.
It's just a moment ago with the 15th, Tony Finau.
Last shot Tony Finau hit off the driving range was this distant wedge. And that looks like a pretty similar spot to where Dustin Johnson made birdie moments ago.
Be sure to tune into the U.S. Senior Open from the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs, June 28th through July 1st on FS1, presented by Rolex. Beautiful look at the Stanford White Clubhouse, built in 1892 here at Shinnecock Hills.
I have a great friend of mine, Shane, that came today. He's a well-known architect in New England. I said, what do you like about that clubhouse? When he looks at it, you know what he said? It's America. Beautiful.
Back here at the 16th, and Dustin Johnson needs at least one more birdie.
I got him out.
Waiting on the group in front of them to clear, and I was wrong. I thought he pushed it up a little bit farther than Patrick Reed. Patrick Reed had 124. You saw how short he came now. AJ and Dustin are looking at greens map. They look at that to find out the slope. They play the slope on these shots. It depends on whether it's into it, what kind of flight they're going to give into it. Now Dustin getting ready for his third.
Well, it's all about flight here. 131 back into this little pretty exposed area. 10 or 12 mile an hour. A little heavy breeze coming off the sound. It's always best to keep it low.
Pretty good shot. Like Quigley said, it's hard to get too aggressive, but into the wind, you've got to fly it all the way back to the flagstick to get it close for these guys.
Now 2 steps closer. Koepka 129. Once again, the lower he hits it, the more control we have.
One of those approach shots. Just awesome. He had the courage to fly it all the way back there. Can't believe last week he said he was hit it so bad. Not hit as bad today.
It was Raymond Floyd from 128 yards here at the 16th to wrap up that 1986 U.S. Open. Koepka from 129 might have just done the same. One more look at this.
That ball down there into the wind. Best players in the world. They control the trajectory up with the long irons, down with the short irons. He's putting a clinic on.
Now at 15, Tony Finau. This for birdie.
In the hole, Tony!
And that was quick. Really quick. Dustin Johnson's just rolled over the front edge.
Here's Patrick Reed at 18.
Roll tide, baby.
Great drive.
Well, he's got to hit the fairway, or he's got no chance to reach the green. Only 5 birdies on the 18th hole all day today.
That's exactly what he needs, the 6th.
Back at 15, Finau must make for par.
Oh, beautiful stroke for Tony Finau. Full of confidence right there. He walks off this green with a good par. You saw him hit it to close on 14. Now he gets to go with a par 5 16th right here where we are now, and Dustin Johnson first to putt.
Well, a good solid first shot in here. Just hit that wall of breeze just a bit and came up short. Left it in the right position, but just a little bit too far. Brad, I think, what, 25 feet maybe? 20 to 25 feet?
I think you're right, Curtis. Just 20 feet. 19 feet, 1 inches.
Not much to it. We're seeing him move it short all week long. Has to get to the hole at this point.
See Dustin Johnson still holding that greens book. That tells him the slope down to the little percentages of.
How much you see?
Well, he just made a good one on the last hole, so feel is a little bit different when you make one on the last.
Well, he and AJ really going at this. AJ's the one that uses that aim point, the system where they use their feet to measure the slope and the hands and fingers to measure. It's like a modern-day plumb bob. He, again, is taking his time.
Well, he's taking his time because he's waiting for the group of Henrik and Justin Rose on the nearby 17th tee. So they are gone, so here he goes.
Just got a glimpse of Tommy Fleetwood. He's been in the clubhouse for some 2 hours. Very interested observer at this point with what Koepka will do, but it'll be Dustin first.
Well, let's see if Dustin can turn the tides. Koepka's made a couple putts first on Dustin, then he's missed. This would be a huge putt for Dustin Johnson to put the pressure right on Brooks Koepka. Got that misread all that time they had. Obviously thinking he was going to break to the right. We saw Brian Gay's putt earlier. There was no break at all.
Well, now we watch Brooks Koepka, and this is to take a 2-shot lead, and to have a 2-shot lead with 2 to go. He knows what's going on. Just quiet your nerves. Do what you know how to do.
And Brooks Koepka takes a big step toward back-to-back U.S. Open championships. Birdie at 16.
I just can't believe how many times these guys must have played rounds together where they're playing for fun at home. I don't think he feels the pressure like anybody else does. He's comfortable.
Dustin cleans up for par. All of a sudden, 2 holes to go. He's 3 back. Koepka, he'll need some help.
Look at that man walking off there. Defending champion and 2 shots ahead. 2 to go.
Fleetwood watching the birdie for Koepka.
He's saying, why did I make that putt on 18? Why didn't I hit it harder?
When you think about Brooks Koepka, he will tell you that he owes a lot of his success to playing professionally in Europe, really all over, before making it on the PGA Tour. Said there's a lot of guys that are mentally weak and couldn't cut it. You're gone for 7 or 8 weeks to countries you can't even order food in. You're out of your comfort zone the entire time, and I don't think many Americans can do it. He has taken all of that experience, all that grit, all that determination to run away with a championship a year ago at Erin Hills. And now a 2-shot lead here at Shinnecock Hills the following year, trying to repeat. Curtis?
I got to ask you this. You birdied 16 in 1989 to take a 2-shot lead. What was it like for you to play those last 2 holes trying to go back-to-back?
My one priority was to keep my mind straight ahead of me. Slow breathe, deep breathe, and not try to think of what's going to happen in 2 holes. It's tough. But Brooks Koepka looks like to me, although it's not over with yet, you know, he's a jock. He's a lad about that. And he knows what he's got to do. He's trained for this. All of them have trained for this their whole life. Now, on the biggest stage, you just got to get it done.
We check back in with Patrick Reed needing a birdie here at 18 for any hole. Will that stay?
We need a whole nother club. Yeah. At least a half a club anyway.
Uninterrupted coverage of the USGA Championships on Fox is presented by Rolex. Will take you the rest of the way to the conclusion of this US Open. Back at 17, here is Justin Rose for par.
Yeah, hit a little bit too much club. That 8-iron just bumped over the back right. It's been a struggle for Justin to dial it in today.
And 3 over for his day, 7 over for the week.
Expected a lot more out of Rose and Stenson today. 2 really the most accomplished players that were lurking just a couple shots behind. And Tommy Fleetwood, the trajectory of his career the last 5 years is straight up.
You see Tommy Fleetwood, who 45 years to the day after Johnny Miller's 63 at Oakmont, posts a 63 here in the final round today. Here's Stenson for birdie.
Proof that you can actually get it close at 17. It's a dangerous hole location. That big bunker looming short and to the left of the flagstick. You cannot go in and expect to get the ball close. You're better off going over the green. Koepka, I feel.
That's his 4th.
Koepka's going to have to aim over there somewhere at the middle.
That is just the 4th birdie of the day at 17. Playing tough. 18 playing the toughest out here today. Here's Koepka now, our leader by 2.
Paul, you're so right. A dangerous shot here. 171 is his number. That carries the left bunker. This is a 9-iron.
Shirt too tight.
That's nice.
What a shot for Koepka. Settle. Yeah, that's championship stuff right there. Take your eyes off the obstacle. Hit it where you want it to go. You got to see where you want it to go. That concentration's a learned behavior, Joe, and visualization is as well.
Here's Johnson now at the par 3.
Just takes a lot of guts to start it over that left edge of the green and let the wind blow it back to the right. To get it close, that's what you have to do.
Let's go! Let's go, Ricky Magoo's!
Well short here at the par 3. Well, how do you win a U.S. Open? Koepka's statistics this week: 1st in driving distance, 2nd in strokes gained putting, tied for 3rd in greens and regulation a moment ago, hitting over 67%. I mean, every facet of the game you need, and every facet of the game is working for Brooks.
Well, he's got the mind to go with it. He stated before this championship he was the most confident player in the field.
Birdie putt for Patrick Reed.
Get in the hole!
A valiant effort by Patrick Reed. He came out of the gates with both barrels blazing. It's just going to come up short.
We'll go back to 16. Finau's second.
Driving this ball down there. Oh, just carries over the bunker. Gets up to the flat.
And a nice welcome up to the green here at 17 for both Dustin Johnson and the defending champion Brooks Koepka.
I don't know what's going on the inside, but on the outside, he looks pretty composed, tranquil almost.
We'll go back to 18 and Patrick Reed, this for par. He birdied 5 of his first 7 holes. At one point was in a tie for the lead, and now in a 3-putt 18. As you said, made a valiant effort to start his day. Shoots 2 under today, 4 over for the week here at Shinnecock. The Masters champion gave it a run. Ahead here at 17, Dustin Johnson will be first to putt.
Yeah, he has a first putt, that's for sure, but it is not an easy one. Up and over a shoulder in this green. So many of these greens slope to the back of the green, which is unusual, and this is one of them from his angle. Just goes to show you it doesn't have to be 260-yard par 3 to be tough. This is only 150 or 60 yards, and so hard to get it close to the hole. I can't tell you how good a shot Brooks Koepka hit in here to get it in the left portion of his green. But I look back on DJ. I had him the first round, and yesterday he's really played quite nicely in a lot of stretches. He just hasn't made the putts, and as we all know, to win any golf tournament, you have to hold some putts.
You can't ball strike your way to the winner's circle, Curtis. You don't bring that putter with you, it's just not going to happen. And DJ commented after rounds 1 and 2 that his short game really was the reason he had the 4-shot lead, and 38 putts yesterday bled right into today's round, and it happens. You know, he's only 3 shots behind, but he's hit the ball quite well, but he's going to go for 33 or 35 putts again today, and that's just not getting it done.
Well, I think it shows that how good a ball striker he can be, but like you said, nobody's been victorious by striking a golf ball. You still have to make a few putts.
Well, while this is going on 17, it's worth a chance to revisit what happened with Tommy Fleetwood today. I mean, just brilliance. And as we said, the first to shoot under 65 for the past 3 U.S. Opens here at Shinnecock Hills. And he had legitimate cracks at birdie. Final 3 holes of his day as well. Some with his 9-month-old Frankie. Got married to his manager Claire Craig in November, and you know, it's golf though, isn't it? You shoot 63 at a U.S. Open, first guy under 65 at Shinnecock in the modern era at a U.S. Open, and he really just wanted the 62. Here's DJ now after a long look at this putt. His only hope really is to run this thing in.
Well, he said after Fleetwood finished, can't imagine shooting 63 and being disappointed, but he definitely was a little disappointed. You could see on his face when he was done, and come up one shot short, maybe two.
This for birdie. Have to work for the par.
Back at the 16th, Tony Finau's third.
See if he can have the courage. Look how close to the ball he's standing. The courage to get it back there. Oh, just really, really disappointing shot there for Tony Finau when he had to make birdie on 16.
Now Koepka.
Slightly down the hill, a little bit from his left to right. This is all about touch and feel. Get it down there close. It'd be wonderful it would go disappear. But make it easy on yourself.
Well, that's pretty easy. Would have been easier had it gone in.
He'll mark, and we'll see if Dustin can make par.
Now it's 16, virtually a must-make for Tony Finau.
Just not the putt you want to have that you have to make. So few players have gotten it up there in their approach and the putt from that far away. Finau now will have to settle for a par on the par 5 16.
Now Dustin, it's 17.
Yeah, just let me straddle.
Just to put a stat with it, no 3 putts the first 2 rounds for Dustin Johnson. Trying to avoid his 6th 3-putt in the last 2 rounds.
How do you feel? What? Just slight. You want to get left edge?
Another 3-putt.
So the 2016 U.S. Open champion, Dustin Johnson, slides away. 2 over on this second 9, 4 over for the championship, and at the moment 4 back. Now Koepka.
Joe, not to be negative or anything, there's only been 5 birdies on 18. There's been 4 double bogeys. I can assure you that if you miss this fairway, you're not going to hit the 18th green in regulation. This is a critical tee shot with a 2-shot lead for Brooks Koepka coming up.
Finau's still out there.
Ooh, he sneaks that in the side door. And Finau has to birdie these last two holes and hope Brooks Koepka bogey's the last.
Well, Finau leads in birdies this week with 17. Here's Rose at 18.
Come on, please.
A little mid-air beg by Justin Rose gave it the come on please. And that's a great shot.
The champion back in 2013 at Marion, but now our leader Brooks Koepka heads over to the tee at the 72nd hole.
Well, he cannot relax at all here. He cannot afford to take a shot off. right chimney.
Yep. That one out of the right. Good rhythm there.
Last year, Aaron Hills, Joe, you remember that 3-wood he hit? Just blasted it 350 plus yards. With the big stick here. Come on, target.
Fairway for Koepka.
Beautiful tee shot.
What pressure?
Well, he looked more free on that tee shot than any tee shot all day, and isn't that the key when the pressure gets on? You know, the good players will tell you that sometimes they swing harder, they release the club more when it's all on the line. Nobody's steering it around Shinnecock.
And the two close friends side by side off the tee here at 18. What's Tony Finau going to do here at the par 3 17th?
He needs a magical finish. That's a good start. Right close to where Koepka was just a minute ago.
So in position there at 17 is Tony Finau. Our leader is Brooks Koepka. You see the name Patrick Reed, who is sitting by with Shane O'Donoghue.
He is, and he's in a tie for 4th at the moment. But can you compare yesterday with today?
You know, really, I felt like they're two completely different golf courses. Yesterday I thought was just really tough, and you know, honestly, I felt like it was fair except for maybe 2 pins on 13 and 15. If those were 2 yards closer to the middle of the green, the golf course would have been completely fine. But you know, I expected them to water it starting today, so I expected it to be soft and gettable, and especially early on when the greens weren't drying out at all. I mean, early on you're able to really attack.
You burst out of the traps though, 5 birdies in the first 7. Talk to us about those.
Yeah, you know, I knew that the beginning front 9 of this golf course you can really attack and get going, and I knew I had to go out and post a number, and especially early, and try to get started to put some pressure on the leaders. And I was able to do exactly what I needed to do early, and then unfortunately I made too many mistakes come down the end.
Well, you're the Masters champion. You put up a very valiant effort here. Congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you in Pebble Beach next year.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Joe, back to you.
All right, thank you guys, and well done today. For Patrick Reed, here is Justin Rose for birdie at 18.
Now, really, those were great comments by Patrick Reed. Not a lot of guys were complaining that the course was unfair, but they didn't like where some of those holes were cut. Patrick Reed confirmed what we've been saying. The greens, you were seeing ball marks, Joe. The ball wasn't bouncing flagstick high. And unless you had a crummy attitude, which Patrick Reed does not, maybe then you thought it was unfair. But it wasn't unfair. It was ridiculously hard, and there were a couple holes cut in places where they probably need to be a little more conservative.
There's Henrik Stenson now for par at 18.
These guys had the big dream of winning this championship. Justin Rose for the 2nd time, Stenson for the 1st time, but it's not to be this year. We'll be looking forward to Pebble Beach next year, I'm sure. Seaside Golf Course should be right up both of their alleys.
Aiming for his 3rd top 10 finish in a U.S. Open, and a major champion from Sweden. Winner of the 2016 British Open. Look at that wander by. he made, he was in a tie for 6th. Now he's got to make for a tie for 7th at the moment. Back in the fairway waiting for the action up at the green is Koepka. He leads by Tommy Fleetwood by 2.
Koepka's got to be mindful of exactly where he wants this shot to go, not where he's afraid it might end up. Left bunker you see right there at the top of the screen is a no-no with a 2-shot lead.
Bogey finish for Stenson. 1 over today, 6 over for the week. We showed this at the start of the day. Those who have won back-to-back U.S. Open championships. You made the mention that Curtis Strange, the only picture in color.
Where's your
last
target?
to do it, 88, 89.
Yeah, right now. All right, just 3/4, okay.
Koepka trying to join that list.
Brooks Koepka from 201 up the hill a little bit. He does not want to hit it 202. Keep it below the hole.
Oh, no.
Look out left bunker.
Left!
Oh, and a great break off the grandstands. It's not engraved that trophy just yet, Joe.
Yeah, nothing easy about that next shot to get it close.
Almost living one more.
Focus can slide back to Tony Finau now here in a moment.
I like that shot.
First we'll watch Dustin Johnson, but Finau's back in it. And don't forget Tommy Fleetwood. What a shot from Dustin Johnson. That for birdie. Big putt here for Finau. This for birdie. And burns the edge.
Well, it appears his hopes are going to be dashed. And this is a long walk now for Brooks Koepka. He does not know where this ball is yet. It had to be an excruciating wait for him back there in the middle of that fairway, Joe. Your mind just runs wild. I don't care what the tournament is, whether it's a championship or not. Your mind doesn't ever slow down. You have to always pull yourself into the moment. Throughout history, this game has ripped some hearts out on the last hole. I remember Arnold Palmer back in the 60s losing the Masters in heartbreaking fashion. Koepka cannot let his guard down here if he wants to win this championship. Down in 3 would do it. Curtis?
Well, he does have some work to go, but he does not have to pitch it across the bunker. That's the good news. He could putt it. He can play it along the ground, which I'm sure he will. And just let the slope of the green take it toward the hole. If he plays it properly, he can get it 10 or 15 feet from the hole. But right now, he has a lofted club walking over this green.
There's a great look at what he faces. If he goes with some kind of flat stick, Curtis, it looks like there's some kind of imperfection or sprinkler head or something over there he'd have to avoid.
Brooks has been so confident with this shot all week long, clipping it off this tightly mowed fairway with lofted clubs. He has to do it one more time.
Whenever you're going to feel your pulse in your fingertips, now would be the time. So take a deep breath, contain yourself here. Just put this ball on the green.
Very nicely done.
Well, I'd say, what a shot. Fantastic shot. Boy, he hit a great shot when he needed it the most. Just don't want to string the bad ones together. This course is like a giant chess piece this week for these players. Joe.
Back on the tee, here's Tony Finau.
He'll be trying to get a good tee shot away.
Mate. Excuse me. Excuse me.
One of his big ones.
And he finds the fescue. Dustin Johnson will be putting for birdie. Brooks Koepka for par. Finau in trouble back off the tee. Koepka will be in a position to get down in 2 to win it. The 2016 U.S. Open champion, Dustin Johnson, putts first for birdie. How about that ending? A birdie at the last for DJ. And an even par round of 70.
This wasn't meant to be for Dustin Johnson. Made 2 putts really on the weekend. That won't get it done. Now Brooks Koepka, 2 putts. Should lock up the U.S. Open.
And if he makes, he wins, no matter what happens with Finau behind him. But a good putt to leave it right next to the hole.
It's all he needed. Finau's in the rough. He can't reach the green.
And what a finish by Brooks Koepka. A hug for Ricky Elliott.
You know, Joe, it's like a me against me when you show up at these championships. And he claimed he was the most confident player coming in, so the me against me part, he got that. Then it's me against the course. He and his caddy had a terrific strategy. They picked this place apart. And then you can only control the controllables, Joe. Me against the field. You can't control what anybody's doing but you. Brooks Koepka. Back-to-back United States Opens. Phenomenal.
And a hug for his father, Bob. Not official yet. But he will become the 7th to win back back-to-back U.S. Opens and hugging the last man to do it, Curtis Strange, on his way to sign a scorecard.
What a player.
We talked earlier in the week about the new game meeting the old course here at Shinnecock. It dates back to the late 19th century. A hug for Blake Smith, his manager. This is the poster boy for the new game. He's got the power, but he's got the short game to go with it.
Power and finesse, man. Power and finesse.
Ends up taming Shinnecock Hills here this
it's
week.
not always what you accomplish either, Joe. Sometimes it's what you overcome. He overcame a career-threatening wrist injury to go back-to-back.
We'll go back to the fairway here at 18, and Daniel Berger, his second shot.
Ball a little bit below his feet. He's got 244 yards, so a long way back. He's drilled a lot of good irons today, and he requires another one. Breeze into him slightly off the right. It's a sort of late hit and drills it through the breeze.
Come on, lad.
To the front of this green. And running back down toward the very front, maybe just off. And Ken, this has got to go in.
Whoa, sit out.
He couldn't have reached this green with a howitzer from that lie. That's Berger's ball there, rolling back off the green, settling into that spot. So it's over.
And Brooks Koepka is the U.S. Open champion back-to-back years. The 118th United States Open champion. He was 6 back after a first round 75. He was 5 back, but he jumped back in it, shot 66 on Friday, tied for the lead after the 3rd round. And now he is our champion here in Southampton.
Well, it's no accident. You don't fluke your way into this position. Nobody worked harder while he was injured. You know, his fitness, his cardio, you know, concentration's a learned behavior, Joe. You don't just get lucky and out-concentrate the field. That's something you have to learn how to do. He figured out how to steady his nerve today. He made one clutch putt after another on this back 9. I got to think that putt he made on 11 was the big key. The up and down on 12 was absolutely amazing from 67 yards short of the green. And it was a hard-earned victory for Brooks Koepka, and a long time waiting and sitting around.
We
had a cast on your wrist.
Brooks Koepka's name and face to this list. Made a terrific par save at 14 as well. His 5 was enough at 18. And he is the champion here at Shinnecock Hills.
Okay. First, the front one's better than the back.
Now the 3rd shot for Tony Finau.
Okay. How far is it to cover
here today?
Cover the bunker is 100 yards.
A lot of hay to the next. We've seen that a few times this
It's on
week.
the right
Lucky
side of the
to
hole,
find
yeah?
his tee shot.
Wait. What bunker are you talking about?
I'm talking about the short bunker. That's a lie.
No, I didn't get this at the green.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about
this bunker.
I'm talking about just the cover right here.
No, I'm talking about this one. How far is it hit at the hole?
That's front, so 112.
No.
Yeah, I know. 112.
That's front?
Yeah.
That's covering the bunker?
Yeah, I mean, covering the bunker's another. Yeah, we don't want to cover that bunker. We want to be right of it.
The wind's in out of the right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lucky to find a decent lie. He's got half a chance of levering it somewhere on the green. 135 to the flag.
How's your ankle?
Good out, Tony. Tough shot, buddy.
And came up short. When you think about Koepka and the tear in his left wrist, bothered him since Kapalua had the torn tendon Bone marrow from his hip injected into the wrist to help with recovery. Originally hurt it at the end of last year. Wasn't ready for the Masters. Turned after in New Orleans. And there were glimpses, Paul Azinger, there were glimpses of greatness from Brooks Koepka at different times. His third event after his return, a course record tying 63 on Sunday. Had an albatross on the par 5, 16th at the Players. A couple of 63s at Colonial the third week of May, but he put it all together. He had a rough first day, a rough opening round, but then fantastic starting on Friday.
Yeah, and he got robbed actually out of being introduced as the reigning U.S. Open champion for weeks and weeks and weeks while he rehabbed his wrist, and that kind of stinks for him. But you know, he's qualified from the neck up, isn't he? He's got the physical skills. He's built like a linebacker or a D-back, and but golf's a great game of skill. But if you don't have a good head on your shoulders, you might as well forget about it. And that may be his strength. We think his physical strength is his strength, but you know what? It could be what's in between those ears.
Now the fourth shot for Finau. Good shot there. Needed a par to tie for third. A bogey gets him a tie for fourth with his first real time on the big stage.
Yeah, pressure really, it'll heighten your awareness, become more self-aware. Every little tick. If you're strong mentally, you don't hear the crowd. This was a boisterous crowd, and a lot of things, a lot of comments coming out of these galleries this week that I'm sure was irritating to some players. But the level of support for these guys as well, they love, you know, they love golf. You know, let's just say that.
Well, we saw that when Tommy Fleetwood came through. They were chanting his name. They knew that history was out there for the taking. Certainly would have been a different story had Tommy been able to make that putt on 18 for birdie to shoot 62, but he did just about all he could. Third shot for Berger comes up a little short. This was so fun to watch, and you know, coming after yesterday and all the talk, Paul, about the golf course setup and the wind and the conditions and the controversy and all that, what stood front and center in the heart of the stage today was just great golf.
Was it ever? And you know, it ended up being survival of the fittest, I think, and just the enormity of trying to pull this off when it's all you think about. You know, growing up as a kid, I mean, I made so many putts to win the U.S. Open as a kid, so many putts to win the Masters as a kid, and then when you have a chance to realize that dream, that's a big dream, man. And he just came in with a philosophy and a strategy, and Koepka came right out of the gates and said, I'm the most confident man here. That's a big statement.
The 66 on Friday got him back into the conversation, weathered the storm, so to speak, yesterday. And of those four golfers that came in to the final round tied at 3 over par, the start of their day, Brooks Koepka was the only one under par, shot 68.
Well, he deserves it. He made some really clutch putts, just like he did last year. Now we're looking at Daniel Berger. I'm not sure what he felt on the inside, but you know, this is a great learning lesson for Daniel Berger. I think when you put it all together and realize how hard the course is, and you know, you played pretty steady. He was only 5 over there just an hour or two ago with an outside chance. And
I think he showed pretty well today with the pressure that was on two Florida State golfers in the top 10, including our champion Brooks Koepka. They were on the same team for a short while collegiately. And a round of 3 over par for Daniel Berger. This for bogey for Tony Finau.
Can't help but think when he missed the putt on 17, the wind just kind of went out of his sails. A careless tee shot at the last. Through a terrible lie. Wasn't able to get it back on the fairway. But he got a real taste of major championship pressure, and it's a sad finish for Tony Finau.
Even for his day before that. And he takes a double at 18 to shoot 72. However, his best finish in a major, he's a young man, he's a powerful player, and you have to feel the best is yet to come for Tony Finau.
Well, he's one of those guys who hits almost every shot solid.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to take it to break and then come back, and we will have the ceremony here at Shinnecock Hills and hear from our champion, as we did a year ago in Wisconsin. We shall now in the state of New York. Brooks Koepka, back-to-back U.S. Open championships. Back after this. Fox Sports coverage of the 118th U.S. Open Championship is sponsored by Lexus. Experience amazing. By Titleist, the #1 ball played at the U.S. Open for 70 straight years and counting. By American Express. By Deloitte, there's opportunity where you least expect it. Look again. Brooks Koepka has talked recently about how he feels he's underachieved in his career. And now he and Jenna again celebrating the U.S. Open Championship. We'll give you some of the highlights today. What a round for Tommy Fleetwood. I mean, you just can't say enough. That for birdie at 14. It's to 3 over for the championship. Here he is at 15 for birdie.
He was part of the group that we included as the potential or the most explosive players. And boy, did he explode today with a 7 under par 63. He hit such a nice shot here to the last. They misread this putt. They wanted it inside the hole. He started it inside the hole, and it wasn't enough break.
He told Shane O'Donoghue he was aware of the history that was out there for him. That close to the first 62 in U.S. Open history. He has to settle for the 6th 63. Patrick Reed just on fire to start his day. Here he is at the 5th for birdie. He's feeling it.
He came out of there like a rodeo bull.
Here he is at 7 for birdie.
This was a great putt, a little sidewinder.
That's his 5th birdie through the first 7 holes on Sunday at the U.S. Open.
He hit every shot pin high, Joe, and kept hitting them inside 10 feet, inside 6 feet, inside 3 feet. It was one after another that looked like the Masters champion was going to get after it all the way to the end, but it didn't happen. Dustin Johnson lost his touch, lost his feel at some point during the round yesterday, and was not able to get it back today.
Sim for par at the 7th. He misses it, goes to 3 over. Here he is at 15 for birdie.
Well, this was a must make, and it felt like maybe he took the lid off here, but it just wasn't meant to be for Dustin Johnson. He's only going to lose this championship by 2 shots, and he just couldn't putt it in the ocean the last 2 days.
But the story of the day and in the end of the week, Brooks Koepka. The champion, you go back to the tough par 3 second, his tee shot.
Incredibly tough hole, 3rd most difficult all week.
He had just missed a short birdie putt on 1. And after sticking it close, he makes birdie to get to 2 over. Now here he is at 12 for par.
Joe, when you're stacked in there with 4 guys tied for the lead, it really is a race to see who can get the most comfortable, the fastest. And Brooks Koepka showed that he was pretty comfortable physically and mentally.
How about this shot? 3rd shot, the par 5 16th.
This was the shot of the championship, I feel, for Brooks Koepka. Nobody got it back there today in the last 3 hours that we watched, except Brooks Koepka.
It turned out to be a big shot because he made birdie to get to even and extend his lead. And now here at 18.
Well, after an excruciating wait in the fairway, he tugged it way to the left, got a pretty good break off the grandstands, 2 putts to win. He just giggled that right up there, no problem.
So tap that in for bogey. And with that, even though not official at that particular moment, he wins back-to-back U.S. Open championships. What a pair, he and Ricky Elliott, his caddy, as they find their way to the finish line in his last 7 major appearances. See what he's done. It has been an incredible body of work.